Okay, so in this video, I'm going to talk about why nothing ever feels like it's enough, whether it's the next book, the next coach, the next fix, the next meditation, the next retreat, the next psychedelic ceremony. And that's why you keep searching for what? Even you don't know the answer to that question, right? You just know that something's wrong, something's missing, something's not right. You might have a good life, you might have some stuff that you really like doing, but still you can't shake that feeling that something's missing. And one way or another, you can't stop searching. You're going to find it. You're going to figure out what that motherfucker is. This used to be me about 5 years ago, 2020, living in Thailand at the time, and I was doing all those things. I was meditating, journaling, gratitude listing, affirmations, ice baths, psychedelics, reading self-help books, coaching, therapy. I was searching, but I remember at the time I didn't even know what I was searching for. I just knew that something wasn't right. One of my friends at the time said I was addicted to self-help. You know, he compared it to some people who are addicted to alcohol or cocaine, and John right here is addicted to self-help, is addicted to fixing himself, is addicted to thinking of himself as a problem, and he's trying to fix it. And there's some truth in those things for sure, but I'm happy to say that since then, 5 years later, I actually don't feel like that anymore. That restless seeking that's always trying to get somewhere, that sense that something's not right, has largely faded. That's because I eventually realized through some good teachers and some good things that I got involved with that I was not dealing with the actual problem, right? I thought I had to journal, I had to figure it out in my head, I had to be more grateful, I had to do all the things that people say to do. That was the real problem. When in reality, one day I discovered, thanks to one of my teachers, and I'll explain a bit more of that in this video, that the real root problem is nervous system dysregulation. What that basically means is that someone's nervous system, your nervous system, is stuck in survival mode. Survival mode is what happens when there is a threat, right? That threat can be a parent, right? From when we're kids, that could be a car accident. Something happens to raise our stress response, so we go into fight or flight, which a lot of people have heard of. And for some reason, we don't come out of that. And we can be stuck in that mode for years, for decades, for our entire lives, right? This can start in utero before we're even born. If our mother is stressed when she's pregnant with us, and we're inside of her, so we get us stressed out. We feel all her stress as our stress, but we can't run away, we can't attack, we can't destroy the threat. So we go into fight or flight and eventually freeze, where everything shuts down. So it can start that early. And then that baseline level of activation, we might say, of fight or flight, being in survival mode, continues for our entire life until we find out how to deal with it, right? Now, here's the thing. If you're stuck in survival, if you were being chased by a bear, right, in the forest, or you had a parent scream at you, do you really think that writing about your thoughts in a journal is actually going to tell your nervous system that it's safe now? Because think about it, if you're actually in danger, if there is actually a bear right here, you don't need to write about it. You can do that later, but at least in that specific moment, what you need to do is get the fuck away from this bear, right? Get away from the threat, then look around and see, is the bear still here? And if not, I'm safe. Or if you had a gun, maybe you would shoot the bear and you'd be like, okay, now I'm safe because the bear is dead. I destroyed the bear. Either way, it's a recognition of the safety that's here right now. That doesn't come from journaling. That comes from seeing clearly that there is no bear here right now. There is no abusive parent. There is, whatever the threat was, it's not here right now. And that's not a mental thing. That's not an affirmation that we say to ourselves. That is a felt sense. It's a recognition of the environment and saying, okay, it's kind of safe right now. Like, I can see it. And as I see it, I start to feel it. And as I feel it, my system goes, oh, I don't need to be in survival mode. I don't need to be in fight or flight. I don't need to be releasing adrenaline and cortisol and all those hormones and chemicals that keep us in that elevated, activated state. Right? And this is why nothing ever feels like it's enough. Right? Because if you have been stuck in survival for months, years, decades, what you really need is safety. You need to see it, learn how to see it in your environment. And then once you can see it, you need to learn how to feel it inside your body. It's not as an idea, like I'm safe. I'm intellectually saying to myself that no, not that. I'm talking about feeling it, right? Feeling the safety. You can say, I'm calm, I'm so calm, and not be calm at all. You can say, I'm happy, I'm so happy, and yet be totally depressed. Right? So it's not the thought that counts. It's the felt sense of it. There's a difference from saying I'm happy to being happy. There's a difference from saying I'm calm to being calm. right? And to me, this is the single biggest problem in society today, is people everywhere are stuck in survival mode. Some amount of chronic activation. That can be coming from, in the first years of our lives, when we say our mother was pregnant with us. It could happen from divorce, sexual, physical, emotional abuse. It could happen from a car accident, bullying at school, all kinds of things. It also happens just from living in our slightly toxic Western society, where it's just go, 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 where the system never really gets a chance to reset and calm down. Right? So most of us, maybe all of us, have some amount of this. And the real issue is that we're stuck in survival mode. We're stuck in fight or flight or freeze or fawn. We're stuck in the sense that it's not safe right now. And we don't know how to come out of that. No one ever taught us, right? No one ever showed us how to actually come out of that. And that's what's so exciting about what's happening right now, is because people are finally starting to teach this stuff. I'm far from the only one. I just love this stuff. It's helped me so much. And, that's why I'm making this video, because I want to tell you about it, right? So safety. If you're stuck in survival and you've been in that for years, and that's why you're anxious, depressed, can't sleep, you don't have a sense of purpose or meaning, you procrastinate, you do all these things. These are all symptoms of being stuck in survival mode. What we really need, if we want to get you out of survival mode, is safety. Right? That message of safety tells your nervous system that it doesn't need to be in survival mode. And that's when it finally comes out of it. That's when it stops producing or releasing all that cortisol and adrenaline. It lets you relax. It lets you feel relaxed. Your mind starts to calm down. And you're not going to get that from most self-help books. That's just not what they focus on. A lot of them focus on more survival, more I've got to get there. Goals, discipline, focus. Get up early, stay up late, all that sort of stuff. It's not really in self-help. It's also not in the world of meditation. Meditation is great. I've meditated a lot in my time, but meditation does not talk about safety. I've never, ever heard a meditation book or teacher or anyone in that world say, hey, just look around right now and see if it's safe. It's such a very, very simple thing. Just look around and see if it's safe. When was the last time you did that? Right? Instead of journaling and affirming things and meditating, just take a look around right now and see, is it safe? Ask yourself, is it safe? How do I know that it's safe? And if I've spent the last 10, 20, 30 years of my life looking for danger, as a lot of us have, when we're hypervigilant and anxious and stressed out, how can I start to rebuild my understanding, my felt understanding of what safety is, what it looks like, and what it feels like? That's the question. If you can figure that out, that's going to let your system start to come down. And that's when you're going to realize that what you've been searching for this whole time, what's been missing this whole time, is safety. A felt sense of safety. Now, I can give you some pointers, right? So it's like looking around, seeing if it's safe. We don't often do this, but look around and see, is it safe? How do you know if it's safe? To me, I think like if I'm sitting in a park or in a busy place, I notice that my system is automatically orienting towards fast-moving objects, right? So a car that's moving fast, a kid that runs past me, or loud sounds, right? So the speed that something's moving, or the louder the sound that pops out of the environment. And then you start to realize, oh, okay, my system's actually scanning all the time without me consciously doing it. But as we start to pay attention to this, we start to notice, hey, right now I'm in this office. There's no fast-moving objects. There's no screaming people. There's nothing running around. There's nothing moving fast. There's nothing loud. And paying attention to that gives my nervous system, not just the thoughts in my head, my entire system, body as well, the raw data, the sensory data that, hey buddy, it's safe. And as I start to do that, and then I start to pay attention to what's happening on the inside, I might notice my shoulders drop. Right? I might notice that I've been clenching my PC muscle or my feet. Like a subtle sense of bracing starts to relax. Right? To me, that's a sign that, okay, I'm pretty safe. Because if I was not safe, I'd be tense. I'd be like paying attention, careful. My muscles would be ready for action, ready to attack or ready to run away. Right? So that's a felt sense of danger, felt sense of safety. Is, I just felt like the muscles in my feet relax. I didn't even know I was squeezing them. Right? And I can tell you this stuff, but the real magic is when you start to practice this, you start to orient to the safety in your environment, and you start to feel how it changes things inside your body. That's you starting to build a map of safety, a safety map, to rebuild it. And like I said, as that happens, you will start to come out of fight or flight gently, slowly. It can be bumpy at times, but that is what most people really need. At the core, beyond the desires for money and sex and romance and all the different things humans desire, so much comes back to safety. And you often don't need all these things you think you need to feel safe. Okay? So, that's the answer to this video. Why nothing ever feels like it's enough. It's because you really want safety, and you're not going to get that from most of the things that are in the world of self-help books and affirmations and courses. This is something you can do for yourself. This is a little primer on this. If you want to learn more about how this works, I'll put a video right here. It is the first lesson from the Rage Heart Academy, where I teach people how to go deep down this nervous system rabbit hole. So if you want to keep going, watch that video, see how that feels, and then if you like that, there'll be a link below that to take you deeper down that nervous system rabbit hole. So anyway, if you enjoyed this, please leave a comment below if you have questions, and hit the subscribe button, and stay tuned for the next one. Bye for now.